Hi, this is Brendan from HigherHertz.com. Today we're going to be checking out and reviewing the Slate VSX mixing headphones. The VSX headphones are a new design for 2020 that are accompanied with software that will actually binaurally emulate a studio environment. So what that does is it enables you to mix in untreated rooms. You don't need to mix on monitors anymore. It was always in the past very tough to mix on headphones for a lot of people. It didn't translate properly. So what these headphones do is they come packaged with software that emulates studio rooms and cars and boom boxes so that you can reference your mix in different places and you can get a great mix no matter what kind of room you're mixing from. So today we're going to check the headphones out, we're going to check the software out, and we're going to see if they actually do what they say they do. Okay, so we're going to start by checking out the headphones themselves. They come in this nice zippered carrying case. It's pretty hard, so I have no fears traveling with it in a backpack or something like that. The headphones themselves are very sturdy, very nicely padded. They're a good weight. They also come with this little pouch inside the case that has, I believe, a 6-foot lightweight removable headphone cable with it. Anytime you get a good expensive pair of headphones like this, it's good to have a removable cable that doesn't have a proprietary connector on the end of it. So that way, if anything ever happens to the cable, you can replace it relatively simply. Okay, so now let's take a look at what's going on inside the headphones and the design of them. So a lot of this is really neat because it's a first for headphones like this. If you look over to the left here on the little diagram, you can see there's like a special tuning circuitry. And what that actually does is it's really cool. These headphones are already designed to be as flat as they can possibly be. But what they did was they took this special circuitry and they stuck it inside the headphones too, just to get them a little bit more flat, which is really, really cool. So these headphones are about as blank of a canvas as they can be. So that'll really let the software do its magic. Another thing that's actually really cool is this, what they call the APS. It's Acoustic Ported Subsonics. What the APS does is it changes the low frequency response of the headphones, and it gives like a subsonic range to a headphone that really headphones have never had before. So all the sub-lows you can hear accurately for potentially the first time ever with headphones, which is really, really cool. And also what it does is when you have the subwoofers, like the big sub-sounding main monitors in some of the rooms that the software emulates, the APS actually gives you that sub-frequency. I mean, when you're wearing these things, it almost feels like you're sitting in a room with an actual main monitor, which is just really, really cool. It's the first time I've ever experienced something with this in the headphones. And then the final thing that they did here that makes this really cool is the actual driver itself. The diaphragm here is made of beryllium, and it's somewhat of an expensive metal, and it's an expensive way to make a driver, but what it does is it gives you, again, a super flat, super clean response, but it also gives a very fast transient response. So what that does is, like, for example, an NS10 monitor, which is monitored in these rooms, or I should say, which is emulated in these rooms, has a very fast transient response, and that's how you judge how your drum sounds are hitting and stuff like that. So this beryllium diaphragm is very fast, and what it does is it gives you that transient response. So really, really cool, really the first of its kind as far as a headphone design is concerned. Okay, so now we're going to check out what is, in my opinion, the coolest part of the VSX software. This is really what makes these headphones worth the cost of entry. So if you look here, you can see that this is what always pops up when I open up VSX, and this is what they call Stevens Room. And the first thing you see is 3 different monitors, and this is with every room. You have near field, mid field, and far field. So the near field in this particular room is like a mixed cube, and then Barefoot's, and then an ATC main monitor. And right there, that's like $20,000-$30,000 worth of monitoring maybe, as well as the fact that when they were modeled, they were tuned with Trinov, which is like a room tuning software. So to be completely honest with you, this is my opinion of the headphones. You could 100% mix a song just in this room alone, and honestly most of the mixing that I do is in this room alone. What you do is, like, I can click on the near fields here, and that gives me an idea of how my vocals are translating, how my mid-range is working out. That's been like an engineer trick for ages and ages and ages, is use something like NS10s, or in this case a mix cube, to see how your mid-range is working. So I judge all my vocal levels just on these near-field monitors. And then most of my mixing happens here with these midfields, the Barefoot monitors. Now, Barefoot monitors, if you're familiar with them, in this case the micro main monitors are, I believe, $10,000 to $12,000 a pair. I haven't checked the price in a while, but if you think about it, a $500 headphone that's emulating $12,000 monitors is truly something incredible. So I haven't listened to Barefoot's in a while, but from what I remember, it really does paint an accurate picture of what it sounds like to be in a room with monitors like this. But that's just scratching the surface of what the software does. So then if you look, you can go up here to browse rooms, and you have NRG recording. You can hear how your mixes sound on NS10s, which is a classic studio monitor. You have Oceanway monitors here. Here's another room that I like a lot, which is the Archon room. You have Polonis mains, and again ATC monitors, Amphion monitors, which I do a lot of my mixing on as well. I did a lot of my mixing on before the Stevens Room update came out. But then another thing that really makes these monitors, or these headphones, incredible, is not only do you have these studio rooms, but you have cars, the electric car, you have an SUV, and what that is literally like a binaural emulation of listening to your mix in a Tesla, or I believe a Range Rover is what they use for the SUV. Every engineer has been there. Every engineer has checked their mix in their car and realized that it doesn't translate properly. So you can listen to your mix in a virtual car, and I was one of those engineers. Before VSX came along, I always referenced my mix in my car. That's just what I did, and it would always come up with, I'd always hear things in my mix that weren't the way I thought they were on my monitors. So the VSX has totally gotten rid of the car test for me. I listen to it in a car here, and I know what's going on in my mix. But furthermore, you can go, and now you have other consumer level emulations. So like this boombox right here, I always test my mix on that too. It really gives me an idea of how my mid-range is working still. Are my drums translating? Are they going to sound good if they're played on like, on a MacBook or on a cell phone? Like this really helps translate that way. And then you also have so many different headphones. So like the pods, probably one of the most popular consumer headphones out there right now are the Apple AirPods. So you can listen to wired or wireless AirPods. I mean, it gets no cooler than that. And then just different consumer or pro level headphones, like the LCD headphones. Those are super cool. But then I always, as far as headphone modeling goes, most of my listening is here, the HD linear. You can find it here, or you can find it if you hit level match bypass. And what that does is, no matter what room you're in, you can hit bypass and listen to the linear headphones. And what that does is, it's basically just an EQ curve that totally flattens out the VSX headphones. So any of my headphone monitoring, when I want to listen to something on headphones and not have that room modeling engaged, I listen to the HD Linear, and in my case HD Linear 2, which has a slightly boosted high end, I believe. They just sound incredible. To be totally honest with you, if these headphones were just $500 and they came with HD Linear, they would be worth the cost of entry alone. So let's get in some of the pros and cons of the VSX. I mean, there certainly are pros and cons. Pros, if you're mixing in an untreated room like I'm in right now, I mean, you can see behind me, and then in front of me is the monitors. You can't go wrong with VSX. There's no more room modes, there's no more guessing, there's no more doing a mix, getting it out to your car and realizing that you just scooped out a huge low-mid frequency because your room had too much buildup there. Like there's no more guessing as far as that is concerned, which is really amazing. Other pros are the price. For $500, that's the cost of literally an entry-level pair of studio monitors. So for my money, if I had to choose, and I did, I've bought several pairs of $500 studio monitors when I was starting out, constantly thinking that, okay, my issue is my monitoring, and really that's not the case. My issue was my room. So the $500, if I had just spent that initially on VSX, I would have been set. I wouldn't have had to buy 5 pairs of $500 studio monitors. So let's get into some cons though, because there are some. There's not a lot, but as far as I can think of, if you are the type of person that doesn't like to mix on headphones, either you have a slightly bigger or slightly smaller head and headphones don't fit comfortably, that's certainly a detractor. Or the biggest con that I can think of to this system is you are the only person that can listen to them. Because if you have people over, you're still, you're recording with people, you're still going to need studio monitors to be heard. So these are not going to totally eliminate the need for studio monitors unless you have several pairs, which can be a little prohibitive cost-wise. But it does open up some really cool possibilities if you are working with other people, especially remotely, who have the same set of headphones. You can actually get an idea of what everybody's hearing properly. If a client sends back a note, how many times have we all been there where a client sends back a note and it's like, oh, I don't think the bass is loud enough. It's like, well, is the bass not loud enough? Or are you just listening to something that's way too bass shy? So that is certainly a cool thing where now you can, no matter where in the world you are, you can all be listening to something and know you're hearing the same thing, which is a really cool, that's another advantage I can think of to this system. That's about all I can think of as far as advantages, disadvantages, headphones versus monitors. To sum it all up, I cannot recommend this system enough. For $500, I think it's a no-brainer. I think every engineer should own one. If I had to make the choice again, I would buy them, no questions asked. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Have you used VSX before? How do you like it if you have? And be sure to subscribe. Check out the Higher Hertz website. That's higherhertz.com. Again, that's higherhz.com. So thanks for watching. This has been Brendan from Higher Hertz.